Tay's flow as Bianca Belair mourns the death of her husband after a tragic car accident. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we've got some truly surprising and heartwarming news from the WWE Universe, ladies and gentlemen. This is not the kind of story anyone ever wants to hear. A heartbreaking tragedy has shaken the WWE Universe to its very core. The EST of WWE, Bianca Belair, known worldwide for her strength, her athleticism, and her unstoppable energy, has been left shattered after the sudden and tragic death of her husband, following a devastating car accident. In a world where superstars appear larger than life, we sometimes forget that behind the lights, the cameras, and the cheers, they are still human. They still feel pain. They still face heartbreak. And tonight, we share the story of Bianca Belair's unimaginable grief, the accident that changed her life forever, and the tears that have left the entire WWE Universe mourning alongside her. This is a story of love, loss, and resilience. Before diving into the tragedy, we must first remember the beautiful love story between Bianca Belair and her husband. To fans, they weren't just WWE superstars. They were living proof of what happens when two souls, equally passionate, hardworking, and driven, come together to support one another. Bianca was the EST, the strongest, the fastest, the toughest. Her husband was her equal, a man who matched her in strength, in spirit, and in determination. Together, they weren't just a power couple in WWE. They were best friends, partners, soulmates. Fans saw it in every interview, every Instagram post, and every public appearance. The way Bianca smiled whenever she mentioned his name. The way he stood ringside, cheering her on like her #1 fan. The two of them weren't just in love. They lived for each other. That bond made this tragedy all the more unbearable. It was supposed to be a normal evening, a night like any other. Bianca was scheduled for appearances with WWE, while her husband had been traveling, running errands, and preparing for his next commitments. But then, in a split second, everything changed. Authorities reported that the car he was driving was struck on the highway by another vehicle that lost control. The impact was catastrophic. Emergency services rushed to the scene. Sirens lit up the night sky. But despite the efforts of paramedics, Bianca's husband could not be saved. The news spread quickly. Within hours, whispers began across the internet. Rumors spread like wildfire on Twitter, Instagram, and wrestling forums. Fans desperately hoped it wasn't true. But confirmation soon followed. Bianca's beloved husband had tragically passed away. When the call came in, Bianca was backstage preparing for her WWE commitments. Witnesses say she dropped everything the moment she heard the words. Her body went weak. Tears poured uncontrollably. Superstars and staff rushed to her side. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could console her. In that moment, the EST of WWE, the woman who prided herself on being the strongest, felt the most fragile she had ever been. She was rushed out of the arena and flown immediately to California, where the accident had occurred. There, she was greeted not with the smile of her husband, but with silence, heartbreak, and the devastating reality that she would never see him again. Days later, the world witnessed Bianca standing before her husband's casket. Dressed in black, her signature braid wrapped gently over her shoulder, she was surrounded by family, friends, and fellow WWE superstars. The funeral was an emotional affair. WWE sent representatives. Superstars from both Raw and SmackDown were in attendance. Legends from the past also came, paying respect to a man who had touched countless lives. Bianca, with tears in her eyes, stood before the crowd. She spoke about her husband, his laughter, his love, his support. She described how he always believed in her, even before the world knew her name. And then, with her voice breaking, she said the words that brought everyone to tears. He wasn't just my husband. He was my heart. And now, my heart is gone. The WWE Universe responded the only way it knew how, with love and support. On Monday Night Raw, the show opened with a 10-bell salute. Superstars stood shoulder to shoulder on the entrance ramp, heads bowed, as the arena fell silent. Bianca, still recovering from the shock, was not in attendance, but her presence was felt. Video tributes played on the big screen, showcasing moments of joy, laughter, and love. Fans chanted her name, sending her strength through the airwaves. Social media flooded with hashtags like #StayStrongBianca and #WeStandWithExt. For a woman who had given so much to the WWE Universe, the universe now gave back. Weeks later, Bianca made her first public appearance since the tragedy. She walked slowly onto the stage of Raw, her eyes filled with tears, her voice trembling. Fans stood to their feet, clapping, chanting, showing her that she was not alone. Bianca spoke, not as the EST, but as a grieving widow. She told the world how broken she felt. She admitted that even though she was known for her strength, this was a battle she wasn't sure she could win. "I've lifted weights. I've run races. I've climbed mountains in my career," she said, voice cracking. "But nothing compares to the weight of losing the person you love most in the world." The crowd fell silent, tears flowing not just from Bianca's eyes, but from the eyes of the fans themselves. In the days that followed, tributes poured in. Superstars shared heartfelt messages online. Bailey tweeted, "Bianca, we love you. Your family forever." Becky Lynch wrote, "My heart is with you, sister. You're the strongest person I know." Even outside WWE, AEW wrestlers, UFC fighters, and celebrities from across sports and entertainment expressed condolences. The loss wasn't just Bianca's, it was felt by the entire wrestling world. Fans created tribute videos. Artwork of Bianca and her husband flooded the internet. At live events, posters and signs bearing his name were raised high into the air. Bianca's grief had become everyone's grief. Behind the scenes, Bianca struggled to find her footing. Nights were long. Days felt endless. Every memory of her husband played in her mind like a movie she could not stop watching. But slowly, she found strength. In her family, in her fans, and in the legacy of her husband's love. She returned to training, though it was difficult. Every step inside the ring reminded her of what she had lost. But Bianca, true to her EST nickname, refused to let tragedy break her forever. She wanted to honor her husband's memory by continuing the journey they started together. Months later, Bianca shared a message with her fans. She admitted that grief was still her daily companion. That some nights, she cried herself to sleep. That some mornings, she still woke up expecting to see him beside her. But she also shared something else. Hope. If I can get through this, if I can stand here today after losing the love of my life, then anyone watching this can get through anything. We are stronger than we know. And though I'll always carry this pain, I'll also carry his love. Forever. It was a message that resonated with millions. The tears of Bianca Belair will never truly dry. The pain of losing her husband will never truly fade. But in her strength, in her honesty, and in her courage, she has shown the world that even in the face of unimaginable tragedy, love never dies.